Michael Bisping is still the UFC middleweight champion after he escaped a close call with Dan Henderson in their rematch on Saturday night in Manchester. I got all the results. Take a look. In the first fight of the night, we saw Adriano Martins taking on Santos. And Santos, this was a pretty good fight. It featured a lot of kicks early on. And it was weird because they were kicks at different levels. Martins was trying to break down Santos's lower base with leg kicks, but Santos was going up high, as you can see with these head kicks, and he landed some really solid ones. I was impressed with the way Martins took them. But ultimately, Santos did work his way to the split decision victory by virtue of the fact that he did better work on the feet, because this fight took place entirely on the feet. There was I don't believe there was a takedown attempt at all by either man. And it was a good showing from Santos. He has like a 5-fight win streak at this point. Next up, we saw Platinum Mike Perry taking on Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts. Roberts is a fighter who the packaging appears to be that of a real big-time contender, but I'm starting to see more and more with his fights. I'm going back to the Dominic Steele fight and then looking at this fight. There's something missing there. I don't know if it's fight IQ. I don't know if it's stamina. It's certainly not heart, because this guy comes forward. He brings it. And he had some moments against Mike Perry, who is now 9-0 with 9 stoppages in his career. But Mike Perry just, I felt like he just much stronger puncher, a stronger guy, period. His punches seemed to have a bigger effect, and in the third round, it was a brutal stoppage as he hit Roberts with a knee to the head, finished him off with a right-left combo. Actually, the fight should have been stopped before it was, because Roberts probably took about 2-3 shots he didn't have to take. But it's a pretty impressive performance from Mike Perry. The next fight was from Dekase taking on Sajewski. Now, Dekase is the youngest fighter on the card. He is from the Republic of Congo, but he calls England home. I believe that's where he was raised. He is a very exciting young lightweight prospect. His strength in the grappling and standing grappling was crazy. This slam that he pulled off on Sajewski is one of the cleanest slams you're going to see in MMA. It was almost as devastating as the one Daniel Cormier pulled off on Dan Henderson a couple years back. I thought Sajewski was doing okay with him on the feet for a moment, but ultimately the athleticism was just too much from Dekase. And he, I believe this was his UFC debut, so he's got a little bit of time left before we can see for sure. But people are high on him, and you can kind of see why. He has some good tools. Next up, we saw Leon Edwards taking on Albert Tumanov, and I remember there was a time when Albert Tumanov was looked at as like an absolute, he was like a title contending type of a fighter. I'm not necessarily saying that's over, but he's definitely not the same guy he was before. The aura of invincibility, if you even want to use that word, is pretty much gone. He had lost already to Gunnar Nelson, just a guy he couldn't handle on the ground. In this fight, he was handling Leon Edwards. I thought he was getting the better of him. Leon Edwards was clearly trying to get this fight to the ground. He was unable to do it early on, or then when he did get him down, Tumanov was able to get back to his feet. But here in the third round, Leon Edwards was able to take Tumanov's back on the ground, and the way he set up this rear naked choke was so slick. He focused a lot of attention around the waist and then just casually slid that choke up, and he cinched it in so tight from the beginning, Tumanov had no choice but to tap. Solid submission victory for Leon Edwards. In the next fight, this was a really good back and forth fight, but you saw an example of a guy with a lower fight IQ somewhat get victimized. We saw Mr. Stasiak, and I always wonder if he's related to Stan Stasiak or Sean Stasiak of WWE fame, but I don't believe he is, taking on a hometown kid in Grant And Grant was handling Stasiak in this first round. I mean, from stand up, he was doing work against this guy. But he got careless. Grant got careless, wanted to play around on the ground with Stasiak and Tally too long, and ultimately he almost got submitted in the first round. Almost did. In the second round, he again allowed that fight to go to the ground, and Stasiak took advantage at that point, locked in the arm bar, and got the submission victory. Good victory from Stasiak. He showed a lot of toughness, but bad fight IQ from Grant. In the first fight on the, this was the last fight on the preliminary card, we saw Brad Pickett get taken apart by Yuri Alcantara. Yuri Alcantara has been an up and down kind of fighter. Everybody knows he's got some talent, but I've seen him look pretty bad in the octagon. That was not the case on Saturday night when this spinning back elbow caught Brad Pickett flush on the temple, rocked him. Brad Pickett is super tough, has a great chin, but he's taken far too many major shots. I mean, just in the past 2 to 3 years, Brad Pickett has taken some mammoth shots. He took another one here. He survived the onslaught from the punches, but Alcantara quickly transitioned, trying to get this into a submission. He was able to do it. He went back and forth between the triangle choke and going for an arm bar, and ultimately Pickett, as he tried to escape the submission, ended up rolling right into position for an arm triangle, and Alcantara got the victory in the first round via submission with the triangle. Next, we saw Mercer Bektic taking on Russell Doan. Russell Doan was a late replacement in this fight. As a matter of fact, he was the third opponent that Bektic had signed to oppose, to fight in this particular fight. Bektic is a big-time prospect. He is very quick, very athletic, has very good technique on the feet as well as on the ground. On the feet, I did detect a few issues, though. In the brief fight that we saw here, he took care of Doan in the first round. I don't think he has enough head movement. I think it depends a lot on his speed and aggression and power, which I do think is noteworthy. But I saw some opportunities to hit him with counter shots because his head stays still for a long period of time. So obviously Russell Doan was not able to take advantage of this, but it'd be interesting to see if there's other featherweights or the other featherweights, top featherweights, will be able to catch Bektic with some counter shots, because he's coming in looking for that finish. And I don't know if his defense is quite where it needs to be. Next, we saw the skyscraper Stefan Struve take on Daniel Omalanchuk. Omalanchuk had never been finished coming into this fight, but that would go away as the skyscraper. I thought Omalanchuk was doing pretty well on his feet. He was closing the distance pretty well because Stefan Struve was pretty slow, and Omalanchuk was able to close the distance, but he was closing the distance and staying in tight too long. Stefan Struve had the clear advantage over him when it came to grappling and wrestling, and he took him down in the first round and nearly got a submission there, or was definitely in top control and doing work. But then in the second round, Omalanchuk didn't seem to learn from his mistake in the first round. Again went in close, attempting to get the takedown against Stefan Struve, and he did not have the skill or technique to do so. Struve uses a judo technique to take him down. Once he got him down in the second round with enough time to work, he was able to transition into a Darce choke, and Omalanchuk has now been beaten via stoppage. In an intriguing light heavyweight bout, we saw Jimi Manuwa destroy Ovince St. Preux. This was a little bit surprising for me. I know about Manuwa's striking ability, so I've seen him in action, but I've also seen him be a little bit of a one-trick pony, not being able to handle himself on the ground. And I didn't think he did too well in the first round. He got taken down, and St. Preux took his back. But for whatever reason, it didn't look as though St. Preux really was definitive in trying to attack Manuwa when he got him down, and that would be something I'm sure he's going to regret. Because in the second round, Manuwa got him against the cage and ripped a left hook to the body, came over the top with a hard right hand, and this knocked St. Preux off balance. He stumbled into the cage from that point. Manuwa, very poised and calmed, just closed his distance a little bit, faked with another left hand, came over the top with a right, and then a quick left hook dropped St. Preux, and the way he got knocked out looked very similar to the way Rashad Evans got knocked out by Lyoto Machida. As you can see, St. Preux land against the cage. It was brutal and nasty. Manuwa, I don't think is a primetime, really legit light heavyweight contender, but this was a devastating big-time knockout. In the co-main event, we saw Gegard Mousasi taking on the phenom, Vitor Belfort. Belfort has had a great career, Hall of Fame worthy, no doubt, no question, right? But I'm at a point where I'm tired of seeing him lose. He's 38, 39 years old, been fighting for 20 or more years, and he just doesn't have it anymore at all. And Mousasi is no pushover, obviously, and that's what keeps happening with Belfort. He keeps finding himself in the ring with these big-time guys who he really can't compete against anymore, but because of who he is, this is what happens. Mousasi basically picked Belfort apart with strikes, beating him to the punch, using a little bit of length, and you usually never see Belfort beat to the punch. That's his biggest thing, is the explosiveness. And to his credit, he showed some toughness because he took a head kick that they really set up the trouble, and he fought it off for a while, but ultimately Mousasi was able to move in and get that stoppage. It's about time for Belfort. In the main event, as we talked about to open the show, Michael Bisping retained the UFC middleweight title with a unanimous decision victory over Dan Henderson. But boy, was he close. It was really a tough one for the judges, I thought. It should have been. 48-47 on two cards, 49-46 on the other, all in favor of Bisping. Bisping got dropped and nearly finished in the first round. Big time overhand right from Henderson, and just some vicious ground and pound busted Bisping's face up. I mean, busted it up pretty bad. But Hendo could not get him out, and it was a pretty good call by the referee not to stop the fight. Bisping kind of got his rhythm together in the second round, but then, lo and behold, late in that round, wow, he gets dropped again. But it was very little time left in the round, so Henderson didn't get a chance to do the same amount of damage that he'd done after the first knockdown. In the third and fourth round, Bisping completely controlled the rounds with his speed, his footwork, his striking ability from the outside. Henderson really couldn't handle him much at all. So that was the same, like I said, third and fourth round. In the fifth round, I thought it was a little closer. Henderson got a brief takedown. Wasn't able to do a lot of damage once he got there, but he did get the takedown. For whatever reason, the judges, all three of them, saw the third round as going in Bisping's favor. But one thing you have to consider is that first round could have very well been called a 10-8 round. It wasn't that, so Henderson did not get the nod. I kind of found myself rooting for Henderson a little bit, wanting to see him kind of go out with the title. We'd already been told that he was going to retire after the fight, win or lose, and he did hold to his word and retire officially in the octagon. So it would have been kind of nice to see him retire with the belt. I guess then the belt's vacant at that point, so I wondered what would happen with that. But nonetheless, we did not get a chance to see it. Bisping retains the title, and I don't know how long he's going to have it, but he keeps it for at least for right now. We'll see what happens with Weidman and Jacare and all of those guys. That's all I got. I appreciate you watching. God bless. Peace.